Your college news station starts right now.
Good evening, Lutz, and welcome to News at 9. I'm Amy Jones.
And I'm Matthew Gee. Here's a look at our top stories.
We take a look at one of the new locations for the PLU commuter student lounges.
PLU In Focus gives us a preview of the upcoming musical Kiss Me Kate.
We check in on the new gender-neutral wings on campus and get an update from R.A. Danny Andrews.
All that and more next on News at 9.
This past Monday, the first sex-positive event of the year kicked off with Speaker Ryan Oakes, who talked about the gender spectrum and how people don't fit into binaries. Monday night, the Scandinavian Center filled with PLU students interested in seeing Robin Oakes talk about her experience with gender and sexuality binaries. Oakes led the attending students in an activity where each student represented someone's gender identity in the room. Oakes demonstrated that not all people fit into a gender binary, and students learned more about their fellow peers on campus. The next sex-positive event is scheduled for October 28th and deals with the issue of abstinence among teenagers and young adults on college campuses.
Nerdy Stuff's, a comic book store which sells games, cards, and a selection of other items, has a new home now. With their new location right down the street from PLU, Nerdy Stuffs offers a collection of comic books, games, and apparel for the inner nerd in all of us. The new location opened on August 17th with a free mini comic convention. This bigger location allows for more space for customers to play games with one another and follow demos. With various gaming clubs around campus, the new location so close to PLU is sure to be a hit. Kevin Nadell, Nerdy Stuff's Community Outreach Coordinator and PLU alum, hopes to get the campus more involved in future events.
Since we're hoping to do a little bit more art-related activities, I'm hoping to see the art students get a little bit more engaged. And I know that I've talked to some members in the art department, like JP Avila I'm working on some programs with currently. And he's been encouraging students to come out here every once in a while.
Nerdy Stuffs is located behind Mattress Ranch on Pacific Avenue, just a few blocks off campus. They offer a 10% discount for PLU students. You can find more information on them on Facebook at their Facebook page, www.facebook.com/nerdystuffs.
The Cave, which sat unoccupied for most of the school year in the past, is playing host to a new group this year. One of the two commuter student lounges on campus can now be found there after Nicole Juliano did the math and realized that the commuter student population was too big for the Hinderley Lounge, which was the previous commuter lounge. The lounge's purpose is to provide commuters with a home away from home feel while on campus. Juliano reports that just over 100 students use the commuter lounges, which is at least 4 times the number that used the commuter lounges in the past.
With more investigation of the commuter student population, we just kind of realized how large the commuter population is on campus. So commuters, the definition of commuters includes anybody who doesn't live on campus. So that is actually 54% of PLU's campus. And so with the breadth of people, that small space, and we were kind of outgrowing the small space in Hinderley. So people use the commuter lounge for just about everything. Eating, sleeping, meeting people, attending programs, playing games, and there are commuter community assistants who staff the lounge between 7:30 and 5 every day and serve similar to RAs do in the commuter lounge as peer resources and community developers.
You know, you think of lounges sometimes as being like really dead and really like not really super fun to be in or around, but the Cave, everybody is just really lively and brings a lot of energy.
The lounge in the Cave is meant to specifically service first year and sophomore students, while the other lounge, located in Cradler, caters to junior and senior students.
Authorities in Canada have released their final report on the death of Glee star Corey Monteith. The coroner's report finds the 31-year-old died from a mix of intravenous heroin use combined with alcohol. Monteith was found dead in a Vancouver hotel room in British Columbia, Canada, on July 13th. He had a history of substance abuse. Today's report ruled his death an accident.
A New York biker is free on bond after facing charges today in connection with a high-speed chase and attack on an SUV driver. Motorcyclist Christopher Cruz made a court appearance in Manhattan. The 28-year-old Cruz was charged with reckless driving, then freed on a $1,500 bond. Cruz did not enter a plea, but his attorney says he's not guilty. A helmet cam captured the incident Sunday that has stunned the nation and led to charges against Cruz and possibly others in the future. The video shows crews allegedly pulling in front of an SUV, then purposely slowing down. The vehicle is surrounded by bikers who slash the Range Rover's tires. The driver then takes off and is chased by bikers before he's caught, pulled out of the Range Rover, and attacked. His wife and child were in the vehicle at the time. A biker was also run over during the incident and is hospitalized with serious injuries.
Secretary of State John Kerry landed in Tokyo this morning for the first stop on his multi-country tour of Asia. He was greeted by government officials and Secretary of Defense Chuck Hagel. Secretary of Defense Chuck Hagel will also join Secretary Kerry for the U.S.-Japan Security Consultative Committee meeting. This meeting is seen as a way to strengthen the alliance between both countries. After his visit, Kerry is also expected to go on to Indonesia, Brunei, and Malaysia with a final stop in the Philippines.
President Obama invited congressional leaders to the White House Wednesday. He wanted to discuss the need to reopen the government and raise the federal debt ceiling. That's according to the White House and a spokesman for House Speaker John Boehner. The meeting has occurred Wednesday, and this meeting came on the second day of a government shutdown. A White House official said Obama's message will be for a measure Congress to pass a clean funding bill and debt ceiling measure.
Yet another casualty of the government shutdown, Head Start facilities to provide a hand up for children of low-income families in cities all across the country. John Zarella reports.
For the kids lugging their backpacks and holding mom's hand, a big change may be coming in their young lives. This is a Head Start center in Brooksville, Florida, north of Tampa, that provides for 135 children. Besides singing and dancing, the youngsters ages 3 to 5 get meals, education, and some health care. But the center's federal funding ran out Tuesday. Supplemental funding runs out Friday.
And Mommy said the school is going to shut down after Friday.
After that, the doors shut here and at 16 centers run by Mid-Florida Community Services in 2 other counties.
That means 924 children in 3 counties here in Florida will not get to attend Head Start. And that means 215 staff members will not have a job after Friday.
Single mom Ashley Rodriguez goes to school full-time. Without this program for her son Giovanni, she's not sure how she can juggle classes and childcare.
If they don't make this budget and get it together, we're the ones who are going to suffer, and our children are going to be the ones who are going to, be without food, be without education.
Many of the parents here share Rodriguez's concern, saying they are facing tough times ahead if the government shutdown drags on. The kids are too young to understand what's going on, but they do know this place is fun. Why do you like it here?
'Cause it's fun.
Because it's fun?
Yeah. I like the toys. I like to go outside.
Across Florida, Head Start programs serve 32,000 children. Quite a few Head Start centers around the state had later end dates for their federal dollars or other revenue sources. They're still open for now. But for the kids here, a real world civic lesson before they can even spell the word. John Zarella, CNN, Brooksville, Florida.
October is National Bullying Prevention Month. To shed light on the problem, Catherine Van reports on a kid who had to leave his school because he says the bullying was so severe.
I've been hit by a fishing pole, I've been kicked, I've been punched, I've been thrown into a bush.
It's not the first time 11-year-old James Wilson has been the subject of ridicule. He says it started in kindergarten.
I was smarter than everybody in there, and I didn't brag about it or anything, but they figured it out and they hated me for it.
But now it's more of a hate crime. Most recently, a group of kids allegedly beat him outside of school grounds at the bus stop on Robin Hood and Lakeside.
They're saying they're doing it because I'm white, because they think I'm gay.
It's sickening that that's what our kids see now.
The Washoe County School District won't comment on this specific case, but says there's zero tolerance for bullying with a matrix of disciplinary actions before law enforcement can even get involved.
There can be suspension days that are involved, assignments, a variety of different things that all fit within that consistent matrix.
But after filing a report with the school and Reno police, his parents pulled him out of the school system, saying it's not enough.
You get a slap on the wrist and get told, don't do it again. And that's it. And so why does that stop them? It's being brushed off to someone else to handle.
Loudon encourages bystanders to intervene when they see bullying.
You can make them feel so much better just by standing by them, by telling them it's okay, you don't have to listen to them. Reporting is the only way to help to ensure that the behavior will stop. It is also the only way to help to ensure that it's not going to happen to someone else.
For James, the only place he feels safe now is at home.
I don't know what I could say to them without them getting mad and trying to beat me up.
If you suspect your children are being bullied, look for a change in behavior. If they come to you, validate them and make sure they feel like they are being heard and supported, and then take action.
When a Good Samaritan pulled an unconscious surfer from the waves of Honolulu, she wasn't sure if the team would survive. Now, nearly a month later, the two met face to face. Brenton Awa reports.
Kai Lapshis doesn't remember much about the day he almost died. He had just graduated from Punahou and was surfing at Tongs in Waikiki with a friend when a wave rolled in.
I caught it, and he didn't.
Not normally a big deal, but it was this time. Kai hadn't taken his medication and was all alone when he had a seizure. Where Kai's memory blacks out, Kelly Patrick's begins. She was out in the water surfing too. Kelly glanced in just the right direction at just the right time.
All I see is his hair.
Kai was face down. Kelly paddled over, screaming for help.
When I got right in front of him, I jumped off my board, grabbed him from under his arms, pulled him out of the water, kept his head up, and as soon as his head came out, I saw his whole face was white and foam was coming out of his mouth.
Kelly might have saved Kai's life by doing CPR, bringing color back to his face before lifeguards arrived. When they took him away, that's the last time she saw the man she just rescued. The 19-year-old spent 3 weeks in the hospital, 11 of those days in a coma. His family and friends waited for him to pull through.
They didn't know, if I was even gonna wake up. I could, wake up, never, or wake up as a vegetable. And
all Kelly could do was wait and wonder whatever happened to the stranger she suddenly felt connected to. She found out.
Oh, you're so sweet. Do that.
Thank you.
Oh my goodness. I'm so glad you're okay.
Kai is still battling pneumonia, but jumped at the chance to meet Kelly.
It's good to see your eyes looking at me and saying, this is what I wanted to see,
30 minutes of thank yous and phone number swapping passed in an instant. Both Kelly and Kai came away with new outlooks.
Just changed my total mindset. I'm sure a lot of people say that when they come back.
Kelly vows to teach CPR to anyone she comes across. Kai gets to save her life once again.
Coming back from being dead, it's just this is my second chance.
Kai was released from the hospital last week. Once he fully recovers, he plans on getting back to work so he can put himself back in college. Stay tuned and we'll be back after this commercial break.
Next is PLU in Focus with Leah Traxel. This week, they'll be giving us a preview at what we can expect during homecoming week.
So here's the deal. I can show you a bunch of footage of third world countries with starving children and roofless shacks. But you've seen that all before. I can play on your emotions and explain to you why you have it so good and you owe it to the world to go out there and help others. But you already know that. The truth is, this is nothing new to you, but the world is still waiting for people like you. So what are you waiting for? Peace Corps. Life is calling. How far will you go?
This new phone is awesome. It has made my life so much easier. I get kind of bored when I'm driving and I need to know what's going on. So now, with this huge screen, a keyboard, and a ton of apps, I can get a text and write back right away, no problem. It's like I barely even have to look at it.
Welcome back to News at 9. I'm Leah Traxel with PLU in Focus. The Karen Hilly Phillips Center for the Performing Arts opens next Saturday as part of PLU's annual homecoming celebration. The center opens the theater season with the musical production Kiss Me Kate. Here's a preview of the musical, which opens next weekend to the public.
This is Cole Porter's Kiss Me Kate. It's kind of like around the 50s feel and everything. It's a musical within a musical, so a production company is doing Taming of the Shrew as a musical, and all the people in it are like, there's the little drama of what's going on in their own lives while the play is going on and stuff in the play. It's really fun. There's a lot of, there's gangsters, there's jazz and everything, so it's a really fun show. I'm Paul in the show, and he is the dresser of Fred, who's one of the actors. So they've had a connection for a great many years as dresser and performer and stuff like that. And there's a couple parts that I'm in the show, and then I do one number at the beginning of Act 2, which is really fun, and that's kind of the jazzy part of the show and whatnot, so that'll be fun. We have the student preview on Friday the 11th, which is free to any students. This is the first year that Pacific Lutheran University has been doing free to any students, whether you have a high school ID card, a middle school, any other school or anything like that. It's free.
Wunderbar! 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 There's a famous star above. What a bright, shining star, like our love, it seems wunderbar.
Very excited. This is the first show that's ever been in this space, and it's really, really exciting to be a part of the first footprints on this new. Apparently, this is what $11 million looks like, so it's beautiful. I've always wanted to know, so it's going to be really, really fun to work with a lot of very talented people. Everyone in the show is incredible, and we've put it together very, very quickly. And it's always kind of scary and whatnot to put it together so quickly, but it's coming together very quickly and very well, so it's going to be a really fun show.
It's been really crazy. I've been trying to get my homework done like in between classes because there's really no time because there's rehearsal every day pretty much, and I just get really tired, but it's really worth it. Oh, I'm in the ensemble, which I love. It's kind of nice not having to have lines, so you don't have to stress out about them, but I love it because you can be in all the songs and all the dances. It's just a really fun play. I feel like when you see it and you leave, you'll just be really happy. 1 and 2. 1 and
2. Cameron Bennett, the Dean of the School of Arts and Communication, has played a major role in making sure the building process runs smoothly. Dean Bennett, quote, is looking forward to seeing the impact on the people who are seeing the finished product for the first time, end quote. The formal opening event will be held Saturday, October 12th. Also on October 12th, the Lutes take on the Lewis and Clark Pioneers in the homecoming football game. The football game is currently ranked 11th in the nation with a record of 3-0 this season. Their first conference game will take place this weekend at Linfield. I'm Leah Traxel with PLU in Focus. Up next is Beyond the Brochure with Devere Dudley. Stay tuned as we check in with how the new gender-neutral wings in Hinderley and Tinglestad are doing this year.
They said I couldn't dream. Called me a piece of trash and swore that's all I'd ever be. Said a bottle couldn't see the ocean. Give up. Go back to the dumpster. But I didn't listen. I made my way. And now, I am what I've always wanted to be.
Welcome back to News at 9. I'm Devere Dudley, and tonight I'm here with Danny Andrews, the gender-neutral housing first floor in Hinderley, right?
Yes.
All right. She's going to be talking to us about how the wings are going and the new visitation policy for the residence halls. Danny, thanks for coming in. Could you just briefly explain what the gender-neutral housing wings are and why the PLU community felt them important to have as an option?
So the gender neutral housing wings, at least in my wing, regardless of your gender identity or your sex, you can live in the same wing and you use the same bathroom. That's at least what my wing is. Other wings can just be that you can share the same bedroom too. PLU thought that this was important because not all students felt safe and included, and we strive really hard at PLU to have a safe and inclusive environment. And so Res Life and a lot of other sponsors of promoting this thought that it was really important to have a safe and inclusive environment for those people that needed that.
Yeah, safety is definitely number one at PLU. So what were some of the clubs that helped put that together?
ASPLU, Res Life, RHA, Student Leadership and Involvement, the D Center, the Women's Center. I'm sorry if I left any out. They all had a huge part in that, and they really started doing that a while ago and started really trying to strive for that.
How did they begin that process?
So a couple students brought it up in the 2010-2011 school year, and then it started with ASPLU, I believe, in Congress meetings and stuff like that, and it was brought forward last year officially as something that was passed last spring, and last spring was the first time that returning students could apply for the gender neutral housing wing.
All right, so this is the first full year that they have it going. What sort of halls have the gender neutral wings?
So Hinderley has a gender neutral wing, and so does Tingelstad.
All right. Now, are there any further plans to incorporate gender neutral wings in other residence halls?
There is rumor / I believe it's possibly true that Stewin, with its renovations, will be looking at putting the bathrooms in similar style to what we have in my gender neutral wing, so that it can be a gender neutral wing if the future needs or desires to have that, but it might not be. But they're looking at making those either really easily adjustable to that or having them in that way, and they can be gender neutral or not.
What are some of the major changes in these gender neutral wings?
The major changes, so our bathroom, our floor, well, it's Hinderley, so it's heated, the floor's heated, but the stall goes all the way to the floor except for about a couple inches, about that much, and all the way to the ceiling except, a couple inches, about that much. And there's stalls around the urinals and changing stalls around the showers, so everything is very covered. So it increases privacy just for everybody involved, so that everybody can feel comfortable and safe.
Oh, cool. We have a quick video on what the student body thinks about these gender neutral housing wings.
Living in gender neutral housing has been great because it's a really inclusive community. If anyone's door is open, you can just walk in and have a conversation. Everyone's really nice.
So I like living in a hall with gender neutral housing because it provides a more welcoming community for everyone.
Being an RA in the gender neutral housing has been it's been great so far because it's a very welcoming community, and I find it interesting to see how the residents interact with one another when they're living in a wing that's not restricted by the traditional gender limitations, I guess.
So I don't currently live in gender neutral housing as an RA, but I think that it's a really great opportunity because, in my opinion, everybody has the right to be comfortable in their living environment, and I think that gender neutral housing really provides an opportunity for everybody to feel comfortable, and it just sort of opens the door for people.
All right, so Danny, how have the gender neutral wings been doing this year?
They've been doing really well. I've had no problems with mine at all whatsoever.
Any drastic changes?
Not that many drastic changes, except always being aware of a little bit more of an inclusive environment, inclusive language. When you're planning things, thinking about what the whole wing would want instead of maybe just one or the other. But besides that, that was our goal, is to make it as normal as possible and normalize the situation, because it is part of PLU and we want it to become a normal thing at PLU.
Gotcha. Any conflicts?
No conflicts at all yet.
No? Good. Do the neutral wings hold the same visitation policies as the rest of the residence halls?
Yes. So if you were unaware, the visitation policies changed just a little bit this year. The wing, it goes first to the wing, and the wing can vote to either amend the visitation policy or not. And
What is that policy as it is?
okay, so the visitation policy is people visiting between the hours of 2 a.m. to 8 a.m. on weekdays is restricted. And so that would be like amending that to where it wasn't restricted. But the guest policy hasn't changed. So who can be there? So if you're in an intimate relationship with your partner, they cannot be spending the night. Is essentially to prevent some roommate conflicts in there. But it first goes to the wing to vote on that, and then if the wing decides to amend that, because it will affect the whole community, then it goes to the individual roommates, and so the roommates decide. So ultimately it looks the same in the gender neutral housing, because we have to go through the same process as everybody else.
All right, cool, very fair. How is it different being a gender neutral RA as opposed to an all girls RA?
So I think that I just have to be a little bit more self-aware of the language that I use, making sure that I'm inclusive, in what I plan for the wing to do, and my goals are for the wing are a little different, and I definitely just more self-aware, but really it's not that different, because every wing is different every year. It just depends on the people.
Okay, so finally, if students are interested in living in these gender neutral wings, how can they go about that process?
So the best way to go is to talk to Kat or Dan, and Kat is the resident director for Hong and Hinderley, and Dan is the resident director for Tingelstad, and they could ultimately get to Res Life and get you through the application process. Also, you can talk to me or talk to your current RA and see which way you can do.
All right. All right, well, that's all the time we have for you guys tonight. Danny, thanks for coming in again. We'll see you next Thursday at 9. Feel free to check us out anytime at massmedia.plu.edu. For all the News at 9 crew, I'm Devere Dudley. Good night.